and as part of the annexation, rezone those said properties from BG Business General under Kent County's jurisdiction to R2A residential under the town of Smyrna's jurisdiction. These applications were duly advertised as required by the code. As shown on the aerial imagery. So as a reminder, you have three things that have to occur for annexation to be permitted. It has to be directly contiguous to the municipal boundaries of Smyrna, and contiguous under the state guidelines and the state code is if it's across the street. So it meets the state contiguity as it's directly across North Carter Road from the Bay Health Emergency Center. Secondly, it has to be identified for annexation in the your adopted comprehensive plan. And then thirdly, if it's annexed, it has to be zoned to a land use designation and zoning district as set forth in the future land use map or annexation future land use map of the comprehensive plan. So just to give you just a brief understanding in terms of where you are right at this intersection. There used to be a series of houses here. The last one burned down around 2015. The applicant is proposing to have this annexed under the R2A designation residential. So this is our annexation future land use map for the 2020 comprehensive plan. All those lots in Spruant City, which are more or less surrounded by the town, most of them are designated for neighborhood residential. Some of them are designated for downtown residential, but most of them, including these two parcels, are designated for neighborhood residential. So this is what the surrounding town zoning looks like. So right across the street, you have the Bay Health Emergency Center. Right next to that, you have the small office park where Dr. Dekine and a couple of those other businesses are at. There are a series of lots along North Carter Road, which from Spruant City have been gradually annexed into town. Most of them have been, we have 3 of them have been annexed under the R2A designation, and 4 of them have been annexed under the R2 designation. So under the, this is what's called our use and bulk standards table. So 2 different tables. So on the left, you have the use table that outlines what particular residential uses are permitted in any of these zoning districts. So under the neighborhood residential designation in our comprehensive plan, any parcel or area designated for neighborhood residential may be zoned R1, R1A, R2, or R2A. So you have 4 choices, and the applicant has proposed to be annexed under the R2A designation. So as you can see, single family dwellings are permitted in all 4 of those zoning districts. Semi-detached, which are also known as twins or duplexes, are permitted in both R2 and R2A. And townhouses are permitted in R2A. Apartments are permitted by special exception. What the applicant is proposing to do is to do a series of 2 families, one behind the other, on 40 to 45 foot wide lots on this area, which would be roughly similar to the lots to further up Wheatley's Pond and Smyrna Clay Boulevard in Spruant City. To the right is the bulk standards table that shows what the minimum lot size is. So even though a single family dwelling is permitted in each one of these zoning districts, the size of the lot and the minimum setbacks in each of these 4 zoning districts gradually go down. Okay, even though single family, for instance, is permitted in each of those, along with semi-detached. Okay, so does anybody have any questions regarding this annexation application? Happy to answer them.
So Jeremy, just to be clear, so you're saying, if I heard you correctly, if the rezoning goes through, they're going to build a couple of residences there. Is that the plan?
Yes, they're looking for approximately 10 to 12 on this little over acre property. A series of like 45 foot lots with 2 families on. Okay. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. Yes, sir.
Didn't we already look at this at council?
We did. So as you may remember, we this is a 2-part, or actually a 3-part exercise. So it has to come to you all to be introduced. Okay. And you all have to agree that this is a property that you would consider. You're not approving it, but you have to say, this is a property that we would, or parcels that we would continue for, consider for annexation. That was done back in August. This went to the planning commission on September the 24th. It was recommended by the planning commission to you all unanimously that these two parcels be annexed under the R2A designation. Yes, sir.
Jeremy, is there any need for utilities, additional utilities?
So there is a water line that actually runs up, even though these lots aren't in the town. We actually have a water line that runs up Culbreth Street, which is a private street through Spruance City. Sanitary sewer is located within North Carter Road, and the applicant is proposing to run sanitary sewer down Culbreth Street to serve these lots from the rear of the dwellings.
And for that work to be done, who would actually pay that cost?
The developer, the applicant.
Jeremy, are 10 to 12 residences on little less than an acre common right there?
Yes, it's not at all, in terms of the size of the lots. So Spruance City was platted, for those of you that don't know, Spruance City was platted in the 1880s. And it was platted to be its own little town.
Right.
So you have a lot of really small lots. Many of them are holding tanks. Some of them are connected to town sewer, even though they're, or town water and sewer, even though they're not in town. The utilities have been incrementally sent through that area.
Do we know what the residents think of these houses going in? Only because we have some very vocal
We do.
folks.
So so as part of the annexation process, or just like any other, it's in our town code. We are required to send written notices to all adjoining property owners, including across the street from Culver Street.
Because of the location of this lot and the proposed development, the impact on traffic, has that been looked at?
No, so that will be, no, it is not. Looking at 10 families. So when this property was taken in, when this property went to the comprehensive plan and was reviewed as part of the 2020 comprehensive plan update, in 2019, there was actually a proposal to put interest in putting a Dollar General on this property. And the planning commission felt that this would be intrusive to the residential nature of that area. So they designated all of these areas, if they were to be annexed, under the neighborhood residential designation.
So you're talking 10 families, 20 cars, where are they going to come in and out of?
Culver Street. So they would not be, and that would be done as part of the subdivision process, but that would be, which would be done through the planning commission. So that would be.
It's already a nightmare in that intersection.
So that would be, they would be coming in off of Culver Street. Any other questions before? I can move on to the next one if need be.
Okay.
Okay. Secondly, we have a rezoning application. This is a rezoning application for George Case, who's present in the audience today, along with his agent, Chuck Spiegelman. This 5.46 acre parcel, which is owned by the town of Smyrna, is subject to a pending sale. And this rezoning, as a condition of the sale from the town of Smyrna to George Case, the applicant proposes to rezone the properties from INR, institutional and recreational, to HC highway commercial. So as you may remember, Mr. Case put in a bid to proposal to purchase this property from the town of Smyrna. This particular parcel was purchased in 1992. It's directly behind Colette's. It does not have road access. It is immediately adjacent to George Wright Park, but because of the presence of a ditch and vegetation, it's more or less impossible or very, very difficult for the town to be able to access this property. And you all voted to sell this property to Mr. Case. Mr. Case has direct access to this property because he owns the self-storage property in the center of the screen. And he will be able to essentially extend his self-storage business into the southern part of this parcel, which is not affected by environmental constraints. So again, for a rezoning, a couple things have to occur for a rezoning, to actually be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. So for you to rezone a property, the zoning district has to be in conformance with the future land use map and the land use designation outlined on said map. So in the 2020 comprehensive plan, because this parcel had been owned by the town as an extension of George Wright Park, even though it wasn't utilized, it was identified on the 2020 comprehensive plan as a green parcel, sort of in the center of the screen. And this was under the open space and recreational designation for our comprehensive plan, future land use map. As a condition of being able to sell the property, we had to do a comprehensive plan map amendment in 2023 at the town council and planning commission's direction. And it changed that 5.46 acre parcel from the green to the red designation, the commercial designation. So the commercial designation, you could be zone HC, highway commercial, SC, shopping center, can also be zoned LC, which is the local commercial. So the applicant is proposing to do HC, highway commercial, which is the town would be in agreements with. So this is a relatively straightforward, since you all have already approved the sale, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
The use would be highway commercial, but it would be committed to storage area.
Yes, so the applicant would have to extend utilities, whether that be electric, water, or sewer, depending on what they propose to build. The site plan itself, before they would be able to build, this would be classified as a category B site plan, and that would require preliminary plan approval from the planning commission. So it won't come back to you, but it will go to the planning commission, and it has to meet all the standards outlined in our zoning ordinance and in our subdivision and land development ordinance.
And again, the intention for it is for storage area.
That is correct. And we've had many meetings with the applicant, just so that for the public benefit, only, perhaps 2/3 of the property at most is actually buildable. So you have non-tidal wetlands, you have flood zone, 100-year flood zone, you have steep slopes. Those areas, by the terms of our code, are not developable. So
That was actually why I was asking.
yep, absolutely.
Remember,
So even though it's 5.46 acres, might be looking at like 3 acres, a little bit more.
Right.
They're going to be developed. But you have an opportunity to say something if you would like to.
We spoke last time that I was here. Thank you for your consideration for everything. My family, my son's right next to me. We hoping to expand our storage facility right now, as it has been out for most of the 20 years that we've been here. There's greater demand than we have supply. So therefore, we had this idea that maybe we could expand so we could meet the demand that we have. So I think this would be a great opportunity to do so. We don't plan on having water or anything like that. It's just what it currently is right now, which is just storage, rectangular storage containers, with like individual units and so forth. Electricity will not be inside the units, not to run the water or anything like that, just be flat. We won't have electricity, obviously, we have for perimeter lights and lights on the buildings and so forth. But that's about it. It's kind of very low key, so to speak.
Thank you.
Are you familiar with like sentimental storage? Is it something similar? Sentimental storage? Are you familiar with that?
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so-
like-
Yeah,
So something similar of that nature?
so yeah.
Okay.
Will there be anything like big lights or anything like that that could possibly shine into the neighbors that abut that? I'm
The only
assuming-
property owner that would be adjacent, I'll take it back just so that you can
There we
see.
go.
So the only property owner would be Colette's.
I didn't know, and I guess I should know if that was something, but okay, no, that's good.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you. This concludes public hearing.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. Good evening, Danielle. Can we have roll call, please?
Good evening, all. Yes. Councilman Drew,
Here.
Mayor Gott,
Here,
Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Miles,
Present.
Councilman Olson,
Here.
Councilman Pope,
Here.
Vice Mayor Dr. Upshur.
present.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Before you is the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions to the published agenda? Being as there is none, do we have a motion to accept the agenda?
I make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion is carried.
Item 6, consent agenda. You have the council meeting minutes from September 15th, 2025. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion to make, approve the minutes.
Do we have a
Second.
Second. All in favor? Opposed?
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Item 7, non-agenda items. Mayor and council members. Madam Mayor?
Thank you. I will go first. I would like to thank everyone that took the time to come out to the mayor's prayer breakfast. I appreciate your time. Thank you. We have, next week kicks off, the 13th is, Amanda, do you want to say anything about the 13th? So I don't botch that for you. The resource,
We're having our community town hall at the Smyrna Opera House at 7 p.m. And we've been going around, Kate and I, around town inviting local businesses, local resources. We've been putting it out online, trying to get our residents to be aware so they can come, they can meet the people around town to see what we have to offer. Places like our emergency services, our senior centers, some of our other services that we have around town, our businesses that do good things within our community, just to kind of bridge the gap between our residents, what we have available, what our wonderful town of Smyrna offers.
thank you. That is on Monday, the 13th at the Opera House. On the 15th, here is the Parks and Rec meeting, which will be the first meeting that we have with the Unity in the community, which is an opportunity to bring together all of the businesses, faith-based locations, school district, HOAs, residents that want to participate, organizations overall that want to come together and unify in their efforts. The activities they participate in, networking is what it's really for, and creating a unity between our community. That is going to take place at the police department at 6:00 on Wednesday. Thursday is unity across the towns where Clayton, Kenton, and Smyrna will come together and we will work together to create one calendar becoming effective in January to celebrate the 250th birthday of our nation. And we ask anyone that wants to come out and add things to the calendar to help brainstorm for events and activities so that it can be dynamic. We welcome you to join us for that. And that is at 7:00 at the Clayton Police, or Clayton Fire Hall. Police Department doesn't have room. And I think that is it. I don't want to take anybody else's thunder, so I'll let everybody else go before I add any more. Vice Mayor?
Good evening, everyone. Just thank you for the prayer breakfast last week and the speech that you gave in reference to unity and community. That has been definitely my platform prior to me even taking office. I would like to also acknowledge everyone that came out to the public safety meeting and sharing your concerns with us. And moving forward, just know that we hear you. And I just want to recognize our staff and everything that you're doing. Chief Donner, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And I just want to also recognize that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and breast cancer awareness is not just for women. So men and women, please get checked. Be safe, and that's all I have for this evening.
Council Secretary? No.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Don't have much. Just want to thank the staff and everyone for all that you do every day. We really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Councilman Johnson?
Just like to thank staff and everybody for what they do for the town.
Councilman Olson?
Nothing at this time.
Councilman Drew?
It was an awesome time at the mayor's breakfast. I was able to witness two great speakers, one Tabitha and Willie Afonso. His delivery was awesome. And also throughout the course of the weeks, I visit the businesses here in the town of Smyrna. It was awesome to talk to the business owners. One in particular said this is a family store, and he had pictures of his sons, uncles, nieces, nephews, it's a feel good town. And so I was happy to go in there and just establish some rapport and getting to know the town business owners that run this town. And they're there for us for the essentials we need. So it was awesome. So thank you guys for being here tonight, and thank you for your comments and concerns.
Councilman Miles?
I just want to thank staff for all your guys' hard work and wish everyone a happy fall.
Pumpkin spice lattes in. Chief?
All right, you guys have your report from me with all of our numbers. I'd like to highlight a couple things. Our recruits are 1 week down, 1 week and 1 day should be right now through the police academy. Sounds like they had a great first week. I know it was tough, but like I told them when I spoke to them in the evening at the end of the week, the hardest days are behind you. Every day you accomplish is the next day in front of you is easier. So I'm looking forward to them graduating hopefully in March. Our certified officer started today. He's got a couple things he's got to knock out in terms of post requirements before we can swear him in and get him out there. But I have high hopes for him. This batch is closed with 50 applicants. We've got some good looking ones in there. And as you guys see in my report, we spent some time out in the community. We have another event this Saturday that we were invited to that we will be at. And we're going to keep rocking and roll.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Town manager?
First thing, had some questions. It is going to be a standard council vote on it last year. Halloween will always be October 13th. It will be from
31st.
31st. Dyslexic right now. The 31st from 5 to 8. We will be hosting a trunk or treat here at Town Hall in the back parking lot. So please come out and enjoy if you can. And there will also be our annual haunted house, which we moved over from the police department over here in the house behind. So please come and enjoy and partake in it. Angel. So a lot of people have, since I've been in this position, have complained about our website and how it's very difficult to maneuver through. So with that and with a few other things, I created a community engagement team, which includes Amanda, Kate, and then we just hired a young lady by the name of Angel today, and she will be dealing with all our community relations. So she will be dealing with updating our website. She will be dealing with the media or inquiries that are coming in. So you're going to see a new face that's going to be out there and will be helping us manage the things that a lot of people have been complaining about throughout at least my year and some change sitting in this seat. So we're excited that Angel will be starting, and you will see some changes with updates and stuff like that. So a little bit later on, there's a section where Kathleen will be updating some of the licensing fees. We need to kind of go back and look at them. So we've identified some fees that need to be taken care of, and that stuff will be presented to you guys tonight. So we're looking forward to kind of catching up on some things that we have not over the years. We have a few outages from the electric department. They did an amazing job. We do know that it is always an impact on the community, but we are working our best to make sure that we minimize these. But the guys are doing well. Again, just like everybody else, I want to thank my staff for everything that they do. I couldn't be here without any of them, so.
And again, thank you for everybody coming. I appreciate you showing up and attending. And if you can come to any of our meetings and participate, we'd love to have you. There's lots of stuff that's coming up that I think the Civil War reenactment is at Belmont Hall Saturday as well from Revolutionary. Thank you. I was gonna say, something about it didn't sound right. Civil was at the museum. And that is from 10 to 2 or 10 to 4, I think. Yep. So I do encourage you to go out to Belmont Hall, enjoy the day. It's a free event. Lots of good stuff going on there. And I think that's it. Okay.
All righty. Being as there's nothing under old business, we will proceed to item 9, new business, including discussion and possible action on the following items. Letter A, appointment of persons to fill to committee vacancies.
So we have 2 committees that we need to make sure that we fill some vacancies in. Jeremy and Rodney and those guys have give us some names. One of them is Brooks Keene, and that is for the
Board of Adjustments.
Board of Adjustment.
adjustments. And the other one is,
Robin Bruner.
Bruner.
for Historic,
Ex-sister.
so we just need to,
Do we need to vote on those or can we just
we do.
need a motion, please?
Do we have a motion to approve the nominees to be a part of the committees?
So moved. I'll make a motion that we approve the nominees for the committees.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Motion is carried. Robin Bruner will become part of the Historic Review Board and Brooks Keene will become part of the Board of Adjustment.
Okay. Next item, letter B, application from K's Enterprises LLC to rezone an existing 5.78 acre vacant parcel.
So, I'd be happy, I gave you the presentation as part of the public hearing. If you have any additional questions or any additional questions of the applicant, I'd be, happy to, answer that. So this is a rezoning, it's actually the second one. So this is a rezoning from INR institutional recreational to HC highway commercial. And that's to allow the sale to move forward, as was voted upon by you, a couple months ago, to Mr. K's, for the expansion of his, self-storage business.
Discussion, any questions? Being as there are no questions, we're going to move for a vote. I just want to instruct everyone, as you cast your vote, please state your reason for voting. We will start down on the end with Councilman Miles. We're voting on rezoning of this particular parcel. But first of all, before we do that, do we have a motion to vote?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's start with the votes.
I'm voting in favor, as I believe it meets the rezoning requirements under the classification recommendation by the recommendation by staff.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Drew.
Yes, I believe rezoning this parcel to the zoning classification recommended by the staff will be consistent with the use designated for this property and the town's comprehensive plan.
Councilwoman Dr. Upshur.
I believe rezoning this parcel to the zoning classification recommended by staff will be in the best interest of public health, safety, and welfare before it will be in harm, because it will be in harmony with the use of other properties and the surrounding areas.
Thank you. Councilman Olson.
I vote in favor of that because it fits in with the town planning.
Thank you. Councilman Johnson.
I vote yes. I believe that the rezoning parcel will fit in with the staff's recommendation.
Okay. Mayor, Madam Mayor.
I am in favor. I believe it's in accordance with the town's comprehensive plan and it comes at the recommendation of staff.
Thank you. And I would like to vote to approve as a yes. I believe that rezoning this parcel to the zoning classification recommended by staff will be consistent with the use designated for this property in the town's comprehensive plan.
Motion is moved.
Item C, application for Rashidat and Adrian Hill to rezone 5280 Wheatley's Pond Road for the purpose of annexation.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I do want to point out Ms. Hill was able to join us.
Hey, hi.
Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
She was, just got a little lost, so forgive her. But, she's the applicant for this case. She's moving forward with a local home builder and developer to develop this particular property. So if you have any additional questions, that you did not ask, during the public hearing, I would be happy to answer them at your direction.
Discussion, any questions?
So just to clarify real quick, when they do start to build there, it would come back before council again, or it would just go before the planning and zoning?
We don't
It
get to
would just
see
go in front of the planning commission.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
For instance. Potentially the Board of Adjustment.
And that the traffic study will be done prior to that, correct?
So a traffic impact study is not permitted for something of this size. And that's a state requirement. It's not a town requirement.
Are there any other questions at this time? We have a motion to approve the annexation, and we also want to make sure we get a second in addition to that. We have a motion.
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, as you cast your votes, we'll do the same thing. Please state your reasoning for casting your vote.
Can
We'll
we have discussion first?
Sure, absolutely. Go right
Jeremy,
ahead.
does this come at the recommendation of staff?
Yes, given the basis of what the neighboring properties, in terms of the size of the neighboring properties and the character of the neighborhood. These are a lot of very small lots. The lots, just on the other side of Culver Street are trailers on incredibly small lots.
Well, there's difference in a trailer on a lot and an actual physical home with a foundation, I think.
Well, in terms of traffic.
Okay.
In terms of the number of dwellings and the density of the neighborhood, for instance. So yes, and the planning commission unanimously voted in favor. As part of the subdivision site plan process, improvements to Culver Road, Culver Street would be required.
By the town or by the developer?
It would be required by the town at the expense of the developer. Does that make sense?
Yes. And all expense would be on the developer, correct? Okay.
So the land is being sold to the developer, is that correct?
No, the developer, the property owner will be contracting with a developer to build on their behalf.
Build on their behalf. Okay,
That makes sense.
just want to make sure.
And this is at no expense to the town, correct?
No, the town will collect a series of impact fees for each unit. So each unit will collect somewhere around the ballpark of around $15,000 in impact fees.
Any other questions?
Is there going to be parking on this property for all the vehicles?
Yes, it will be, and that'll be a requirement to even build a parking permit.
And is that at a certain number per home or is that,
Generally, it's 2 parking spaces
okay,
per dwelling unit. That's what the parking standards of the town.
Do we, sorry,
No,
How-
these are open questions.
yeah, how many dwelling units is the current plan, if you don't mind me asking that?
The applicant hasn't submitted. We just had discussions with the applicant in terms of what they're looking to do.
Okay,
well, that was the 10 to 12.
Yeah, 10 to 12 is what the number we've talked about.
okay,
So they're permitted a maximum under our code of 14 dwelling units per acre in terms based on the parcel this size.
Any other questions? No.
I'm sorry.
Again, do we have a motion?
I believe you have a motion in a second.
We do have a motion.
We did that.
Sorry, my apologies. We do have. All right, let's start down on the end with Councilman Miles.
I'll vote in favor as the staff recommended it and believes that this fits in within the town comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Councilman Drew.
Yes, I believe rezoning this parcel versus zoning classification recommended by staff, he would be consistent with the use designated for this property in the town's comprehensive plan.
Councilwoman Dr. Upshaw.
I am in favor of rezoning this property and recommendation of staff.
Councilman Olson,
I'm in favor because it's in accord with the town plan.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes, because it fits comprehensive plan and recommended by staff.
Madam Mayor.
It comes at the recommendation of staff and it meets our comprehensive plan. I'm in favor of it.
I'm voting in the affirmative. I'm in favor. I believe rezoning this parcel to the zoning classification recommended by staff will be consistent with the use designated for this property in the town's comprehensive plan. Are there any opposed? Hearing that there are none.
Motion is passed.
Thank you. Item D, Downtown Development District Plan.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Did we do this one?
Yes, we did.
In 2014, the state passed what was called the Downtown Development Districts Act, which allowed the state under the governor's direction to designate up to 15 individual communities as downtown development districts. And then the long and the short of it is the purpose of it was to spark redevelopment and both monetary investment and physical investment and beautification within our historic downtowns across the state, and to help strengthen housing opportunities for local communities. The 15 downtown development districts are permitted. In 2015, in January, the state designated Dover, Seaford, and Wilmington. On October the 10th of 2016, Smyrna was designated alongside 4 other communities. Then the last round of communities were added in 2019. As part of this, every community was required as part of the initial application to complete a downtown development district plan, more or less synthesizing how you are, what are all your strategies for redeveloping your downtowns. You were required to have and provide local financial incentives to developers that were approved by the state. And every local municipality that's designated is required to have a downtown development district administrator. I've been a DDD administrator since 2016 for the state. So there, in terms of what does it do, the long and the short of it, in terms of the most important thing it does, whether it's for new construction or whether it's for renovation or it's an addition to an existing building, for every dollar that a developer puts into new construction or rehabilitation, the state will reimburse them, the Delaware State Housing Authority will reimburse them 20% of the cost of construction or 20% of the cost of renovations. Okay, there are minimums. You have to be at least $25,000 worth of renovations. They're not going to fund routine maintenance, but what it's meant to do is to fund a lot of transformational projects. And they're divided up in between small projects and large projects. Small projects are done on a rolling basis. Almost all but 2 of our DDD projects here in Smyrna have been small projects. We've only had 2 large ones that have been approved by the state. And again, it's administered by the Delaware State Housing Authority, who conduct all the audits of the financial statements and do inspections on each property for every project. So currently, this is what we have. The area shown in blue is our downtown development district as it was enlarged in 2024. It's been enlarged to 187 acres. For municipalities and communities of our size, we are permitted to have up to 200 acres for our downtown development district plan. And any additions or revisions to said plan have to be approved by the Delaware State Cabinet Committee for planning issues, essentially the state cabinet agencies, including DENREC, Department of Agriculture, and Delaware State Housing Authority. So we've added on to our downtown development district 4 different times since 2016. Our initial district, which was shown here in light blue, 140 acres. In 2018, we annexed the former Harris manufacturing plant, and that was added to our downtown development district on the hope of being able to spark a redevelopment of that property, which of course, unfortunately has not occurred. Not through lack of trying, of course. But in 2019, we added 13 acres that were shown here in green on North Main Street and down South Street and down Commerce Street. And most recently, in early 2024, we added 27 acres shown here in the dark blue. We did add a strip going out to Bethel AME Church, which is in our National Register Historic District. We added some properties along North Street, and then we added some properties, near in the vicinity of Smyrna Elementary School and in the edges of Spruance City along Smyrna Boulevard. Since 2016, the state has provided $1.37 million worth of funding directly to property owners or developers to rehab or for new construction properties all throughout the town. So 41 particular projects. I did provide blow-ups of the maps individually for you so you could take a look at them. And I did label them all just so that you have an idea. I met with 2 property owners last week that completed their work and submitted to the Delaware State Housing Authority last week. So we'll be adding about 60,000 to this number within the next 30 days upon approval. So why are we here? So we are at the point of coming up upon our 10-year renewal. So the initial designation was for a period of 10 years. And as a condition of renewal, we are required to update and essentially rewrite our downtown development district plan, which Rick Farrell did for us back in 2014. We're required to update that. And these are a couple of things that we're required to do. So we're essentially supposed to evaluate how the program has worked in the town, good, bad, and ugly. How can it be improved? Evaluate the vision, goals, and strategies for the town. Are there things that we should be doing differently or not at all, or doing that we're not doing? We're supposed to evaluate our financial incentives. So I did provide a copy of our downtown development guide. We offer on the inside, you'll notice a series of local incentives. So we offer a series of things, including building permit fee waivers, municipal, not county, impact fee waivers for projects within the downtown development district, along with a couple other minor things, utility rebates and a reassessment waiver for up to 5 years. So those are the things we have to look at. How do we like those? We are to identify priority projects. So where in our downtown development district, what are our top priorities? Is there a particular building, a particular block, a particular street that we want to concentrate on? And what are those 5 to 10 priority projects that we want to see in the next 5 years? Do we want to consider any expansions to our downtown development district? This would be the time to do so. Again, we would have approximately 13 acres to deal with. Not a whole lot of acreage, but a little bit if we wanted to expand anything. And we have to update all of our maps and data tables. So in the past 10 years, we have to update about 15-year difference between our census data, our zoning data, property data. All of these things have been updated significantly since that time period when we did the original district plan. So we will be doing that. We've hired a GIS planner. She has been working very diligently to be able to, she's been updating most of our maps and data tables. That portion's already, and I've provided a couple of them here for you, has already been done. What we need to do moving forward, this is due to the Office of State Planning Coordination on February the 1st of next year. So the town does have to update its plan. This is, it's very important to be able to gain and harness public input and input of stakeholders in the downtown, whether they be business owners, whether they be residents, whether they be community leaders in our downtown. We need to do that in a productive fashion in a series. We need to do at least 1 to 2 public meetings. We also need to do, I would recommend doing interviews, one-on-one interviews or group interviews with business owners and community stakeholders, and doing, we can do online and paper surveys that can be tabulated. We did something similar for the Master Parks Plan, for instance. That needs to be able to, so that we can gauge the residents, not only in downtown, but town-wide, because this is a community asset. This is the town's front porch. This is where you go. This is where residents are able to congregate or enjoy for a drink or someplace else. So this is like our front porch. So this is what we're doing. So that's all done. The last slide. what I'm looking for is, moving forward, what we need authorization to move forward, and then what particular body or group you have the ability, we do have, as you may remember, we have what's called a Slum Clearance and Redevelopment Authority. That ugly name is part of the state enabling code. That's a vestige of the 1960s, urban renewal. That is not our name, but we colloquially refer to it as the Redevelopment Authority. We do have the Redevelopment Authority, if you wanted them to spearhead the process, or if you wanted to appoint a steering committee of individuals to be able to lead this process. But we have a pretty accelerated timeline that we have to meet to be able to meet the State Department. So I'd be happy to take any questions.
Is there any appetite in, and I know I've had this conversation in the past, and I'll make it short because I know last time I did not. Is there any possibility as we grow this district that we would absorb any of the east side of the highway that could benefit? And is it only for strict facilities or businesses or brick and mortar places that exist, or could it be used for historic land to develop a park area?
So let me ask you, I'll answer your second part, question is easier to answer than your first. So in terms of who can get money, it could be a property owner. It could be somebody renovating their house. They're putting a new roof, they're putting new siding, they're repainting their siding. So it could be a property owner. It could be a developer, somebody who's flipping the property. It could be a developer who's buying a lot, who's going to build a house on the property. We've had a lot of those in the downtown area. We're two families that have bought a house or built a house, and then sold it to for owner occupied dwelling.
Or like a community building?
So local governments are not permitted to apply. But it can also be a tenant. So let's say you have a tenant in a building that's owned by somebody else, and they do work on that space. They would be an eligible entity to be able to apply for and obtain. So for instance, Baybird Orthodontics.
Mhm.
Baybird Orthodontics in the Smyrna Health and Wellness Building, they are a tenant in that 108,000 square foot building. They received around $70,000 from the Delaware State Housing Authority for renovating that space, which is only a couple thousand square feet. But it was like $600,000 worth of work.
It looks it. It's gorgeous.
So there's a couple different ways someone can apply, and it's meant to be flexible. And this is this is a very unique program. There really is not a program elsewhere across the country that does this, that provides, and more or less, you don't even, if it's a large project, you do have to apply for it, and that's twice a year. But generally, everyone gets it. Everybody gets their funding.
Is there
If you're an eligible entity.
is there anything that prevents the same property owner from applying again and again? I only got to see a few lines of what was on the chart before
Yes.
it moved.
Okay, I can go back. So for instance, we have had one property that has applied for more than once. Center Point Church applied back in 2019, and then they got one last year. So essentially, they renovated the building the first time, and then they renovated the basement, into like Sunday school spaces and everything like that.
Center Point. I was actually looking at,
So there are instances. So for instance, Mr. Detra, who owns the former Maverick Texas Barbecue, he obtained funding back in 2018, if I recall. I had to look at the chart.
Right.
I talked to a potential purchaser of that building today. They would be eligible to receive funding. They would get a check for 20% of the cost of renovations. It really doesn't affect us per se. This is more for Wilmington, but you can get well over $1 million worth of reimbursement, depending. It's based upon the cost of the project. So if you do a $5 million project, you can get $1 million state funding. So that's a lot more common in Wilmington. We don't have any of those projects here.
one of the folks on here got a payout in October of 20 and then 2 in December of 20 as well. And that was sort of what sparked my interest as to.
So Big Jim's Homes, for instance, so they actually bought actually 4 homes in
They're
town,
different properties.
4 separate properties,
Okay.
and 4 different locations. And they realized that this is a way it makes financial sense that if I buy a property, I fix up the exterior, the town gets a better looking building, a better quality building. And
At about $80,000, so it can't be too bad.
So it's a manner in which to spark investment in our town. Okay, and it is a very successful program.
Are we looking to increase our downtown district?
That's really, and the purpose of this is not my decision, okay? This shouldn't be staff's decision, okay? You want to be able to gauge public input in a meaningful way.
Right.
To be able to figure out, are there ways for us to improve? Are there properties that are not currently in our district that potentially could be added to our district? Now, you asked about adding properties on the east side of 13. The Office of State Planning does not want us to do that.
That's what I was afraid of.
So the only reason I was able to get that small sliver is because those properties and more or less those properties alone are on our National Register Historic District.
Okay.
And I was able to get that for Bethel AME Church.
Okay.
Jeremy, you mentioned earlier about possibly having an option whether it's under the RDA versus having a steering committee. My question is, if it's under a steering committee, right, would there be reports or things generated as far as grants, or rather the awards of money going in and out? And how would that affect the budget process for us?
So the purpose of going through the RDA or a steering committee is not to administer the program. That's staff's position.
Mhm.
So the way that this operates, you have a local downtown development district administrator. I work with individual property owners to help them understand what incentives they're able to get. I assist them in the application process. The state, the Delaware State Housing Authority, is the one who vets all of the work and writes them a check. Okay. A steering committee or the RDA would have no effect on that.
Yeah.
The purpose, what I'm asking for is for the purpose of rewriting the plan. Would you like to have the RDA just do it? Or would you like to have a steering committee that may include the RDA? Or perhaps members of the planning commission or local business folks?
Staff.
This is just something for you as a group to be able to consider.
So you're asking us basically tonight to, I just want to make sure we're clear.
Yes, sir.
What are you asking us to do tonight?
I'm asking for, we're going to be moving forward at your direction to rewrite and apply for renewal of our downtown development district as required by the state. And to rewrite our downtown development district plan. Do you want the responsibility for reviewing staff's work to be the RDA and solely the RDA along with council? So presumably this draft plan would come back to council, but you might not be involved on a weekly or monthly basis as part of the writing of the plan. You would see the finished product. Or do you want to appoint a separate steering committee of individuals, perhaps up to 7, 10 at most? You don't want it too big of a group. But, in speaking with Tori, this is what I was asked to do.
So I'm going to turn to you. I have thoughts, but I don't know that I've dealt with the process enough to honestly know the ins and outs of it. My feeling is that a committee doing it is not the same as staff being involved with it.
So if that's what you're looking for, and that's why we're here, because if you weren't sure what you guys wanted, then I would suggest that you make it a steering committee, and that allows you to appoint the amount of people that you want to have on that.
And staff can also be appointed to that committee, correct?
Staff would be provided, just like the RDA, for instance. I'm the staff liaison for the redevelopment authority.
Okay.
I'm the one that's essentially taking the decisions that they make and doing all the paperwork for them. You know, we would be doing that regardless.
Yeah.
It's who do you want leading the process?
So I'd like to recommend that we do have a steering committee as well as the moving forward on having this plan developed. If everyone's okay with that?
I agree to that.
Second.
All right, well, we need a motion. So do we have a motion for the recommendation of having a steering committee and moving forward with the development of the,
You would, so if you want to maybe come back at the next meeting and appoint the steering committee,
We can appoint it.
That way.
We can appoint it
You
that
have a little
time.
bit of time to think about it.
Okay.
Okay. So
That's-
why don't we table then till the next meeting, and then we can actually go ahead and make the adjustments at that time. So let's table it till the next meeting, please.
I just have another question real quick. How, if it's extended, is there like a requirement by state law that says, okay, you can only extend it up to 13% more than what it currently is?
So there's two things, three things actually, but two basic things. So there's an acreage, there's a maximum acreage. And then there has to be a legitimate, it has to be a legitimate strategy in terms of which parcels are included. So they don't want us including, for instance, highway commercial parcels. They want us to, like, if we were to include, near on the south side of this area, on the bottom part of the map, going down South Street and going down West Commerce Street, South Howard Street, that's part of Spruce City. There's a lot of houses in need of some TLC there, perhaps. If you were to, those parcels are zoned downtown residential.
Yeah.
That would be, thinking out loud, that would be an appropriate strategy that the state would probably go for, because ultimately the state has to approve any expansion that we propose. And there has to be a definable and reason as to why those acreages, based upon the intent of the state enabling legislation.
And
So
do they-
what is the maximum acreage for?
For a municipality of our size, 200 acres is the maximum acreage. The one thing to consider, for instance, and this is something that the committee would get into, if you add a particular acreage and somebody comes, let's say a developer comes forward and says, I want to develop a property on your fringe, and you've already used all your acreage up, you can't go back after the fact and add it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can add, you can't take away. Okay, so it's a one-time expansion, so, but again, that's something for the group.
Jeremy, just
Yes.
for point of clarification in reference to the east side of the highway.
Yes.
I know our mayor asked and said it was denied. Can you give clarification as to why it was denied?
So for one thing, they don't want, I received a lot of pushback even to be able to get these parcels. They don't want areas along the corridors. They don't want suburban areas along the corridor to be developed. So, and to be able to add, if we would like to try to go to Locust Street, we don't have enough acreage to be able to go that far. Or to go to other parts on the east side of the highway, like Parkway Manor, which have, homes that need TLC. And that is what we've done to help balance that. There's a state limit in terms of the size of our downtown development district. The area in gold, or this tannish color, this is what's called our redevelopment authority established back in 2020. What's called redevelopment focus area. This expanded area includes much of the area east of 13. And that enables those properties to at least get the side grants. So.
I know I'm asking a lot of questions. Actually, there's two, and I know the answer to the first one is absolutely not, but I'm gonna try anyway.
Yeah.
So thinking about something like this for the Lindens is a hard no because it's not connected. And
So actually, not just because it's not connected. So, and thanks for reminding me, because you asked once already before. So in terms of eligible entities, so I talked about you could be a property owner occupied, you could be a renter or a tenant, you could be a developer, and it could be a, absentee land. All of those are permitted. You could flip the property. Those are all eligible entities. There are a long list as defined in the state code in terms of not eligible entities. State and local governments are prohibited. They are not an eligible entity. So for instance, the Smyrna, the Duck Creek Regional Library is in the downtown development district. It could not get DDD funding for the library because it was deemed to be a project that was essentially a local project. Essentially, even though it's technically its own entity, it was deemed to be a local entity that was ineligible under state code.
So the Friends of didn't help that at all.
No, in that particular instance, no. The firehouse, for instance. So I tried very hard to get, when Citizens Host Company did their, I know it's $3 million, I can't remember what the price of the addition and renovations at the firehouse. I did try very hard. The Delaware State Housing Authority deemed them to be ineligible because they receive state funds. So because they receive the portion of the insurance money from the state, they were deemed to be as an ineligible entity. Hospitals are ineligible entities. So there are a series of ineligible entities. Adult businesses by state code are ineligible entities.
And they don't have an appetite for moving to the east side at all.
No, that's
Piece
that
of
was-
land over there that could benefit, but, okay.
But it's not, I mean, it's ultimately the board's decision to move it to the east side, or is it just like nothing can go to the east side? Is that what they're saying?
So the direction that I received from the Office of State Planning Coordination, they're the staff for the State Planning Commission, essentially the committee of cabinet secretaries with the governor who ultimately approves these. The explicit direction I was given was that they don't want to see more acreage along the highway.
And this was in this current administration of the governor's
It was in
office?
2024,
Oh, okay.
but the
That could be
the state
different.
planning director has not changed.
Okay.
So David Edgell has been the state planning director since 2021.
This is a small question, but what does SFD? What is that?
Single family dwelling,
Okay, all right. Just wanna make
just
sure.
planner jargon. I just have to be able to fit stuff on tables.
I see.
Okay.
I see. Like SFD, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Thank you. I've tried to find funding for all the places that I thought could benefit. It's not gonna work.
All right, so I just want to make things official. So can we have a motion to just have this placed on the next agenda?
I make a motion that we place this on the next agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion is carried. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy. Item E, update 2026 fee schedule.
Yay, Kathleen.
So I'm just bringing two fees in particular, so that way we can get out our renewal notices for the end of the year. Everything else will be bundled in with
Can you state who you are so that we have it on the minutes, please? I'm sorry.
Kathleen Acevedo, the finance director for the town. So the two fees that I am bringing today are, the first one's the rental license fee. We currently charge $50 per unit per year. I would like to increase that to $100 per unit per year. That would increase our revenue just over $66,000. And then the second one is our peddler license, which is mostly food trucks and businesses on wheels. They're currently at $50, and I would like to bring that up to what every other business application license is, which is the $125.
We need a motion.
Discussion? Any questions? Do we have a motion to approve the proposed update of the fee schedule?
Sorry, I do have a question. How many food trucks do we have in the town currently that?
Currently that are registered with a license, we have 11.
So I'm taking into account, that means anybody that comes into town to do business technically has to get a town business license,
Okay,
right? So just because you have 11 that are here, there's probably 100 of them that come in and out.
yeah, okay. And that includes for like Smyrna at night.
They do pay fees.
Okay.
We're talking about the ones by the car wash.
All of them.
Well,
Where they go? Yes.
yeah, because I see those, they're planted. They've been there for a while now.
Yeah, I think most of them have a license with us.
Any additional questions? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we, with the recommendation of staff of increasing.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion is carried to increase fees.
All right, Thank you, Kathleen. Item 10, presentation and public comments. With it, yes, sir, go right ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Larry Strzeski. I have a question. Does the town of Smyrna still have an active finance committee?
Yes,
We're doing all the good stuff.
we are.
Okay, that was my question.
We do. Actually, Mr. Walls is the chairman of it, and he will be meeting with town manager Tori James very soon.
Yeah, we were waiting for you. We're actually glad to see him here today so we could set our meeting.
You were waiting for me? Sorry.
Will those public meetings be open?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
That was easy.
Good to see you.
Yes.
My name is Vicky Blair. I wasn't able to attend the planning and zoning meeting that recently happened on September 24th. But I was able to go and watch it after the fact. And there's some concerns I have. So I pre-wrote my concerns, so if you just bear with me for a minute. I noticed that 3 items were presented to the committee by Jeremy Rockwell, who is listed as a member of the committee as town staff. The first applicant was not present, the other 2 were. My questions are, first, how does someone that is on the committee present an application? Second, how is an application presented without the applicant being there to answer any possible questions? Third, since Mr. Rothwell presents an application, then does that make him unable to vote on whether it gets presented to council? Maybe it's just me, but there seems to be a very fine line of conflict of interest with Mr. Rothwell. During doing his job for the Planning and Zoning Department, being on the Planning and Zoning Committee, and presenting applications, especially when the applicant isn't present. It is my feelings that Mr. Rothwell then becomes an advocate for the applicant as opposed to an advocate for the town he works for. Again, personal feelings. That's how I took everything that happened. Very confused how you can be on a committee and then present to the committee. I don't understand it, and I'm really hoping that somebody here, Barrett, whomever, can help enlighten me as to why it is done the way that it is done. He also presents to council most all applications. My feelings personally is if there's a person applying to be whatever, annex, build, zone changing, the applicant should be here. The applicant should be involved at the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting. If I needed to do something here in town, I'd be there. I wouldn't want somebody else to speak on my behalf. So I want to put that all out to council. Whether I get a response tonight or not, I don't know. Would also like to put that out to the town manager, as he seems to be the one to control staff. I just see a lot of conflicts here. And I don't know if they're good conflicts or bad conflicts. I don't know if legally it could create problems down the road. Just a lot of concerns with what I saw at that Planning and Zoning Committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No further comments? Madam Mayor, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Oh, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion is